I hear music. Let me get the screenshot. I like how you're seat dancing, though. That's pretty sweet. Okay, looks like we're back. Can you guys hear?
I can hear the music, too. Music and voice. We had to come back with some more than just the voice, so.
Yeah, we had to do something. Okay, so now it's working. Perfect. Yes. Wow. Yes. Okay. I mean, good Lord. Okay. Sorry about all of the technical difficulties. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Appreciate all of you double time for sticking around. My goodness. Are we lucky? Yes. Sound is good. Okay.
Like you said, we have the best community. They understand.
Yeah, we really do. Echo?
Lots of things that are pushing and up and breaking out are not sustaining those moves, folks. Another day where we need to make sure we keep our stops tight. I know that comes a little bit too late for some things like SRM, but I mean, it kind of looks like it's trying to turn around, but we'll see if that actually happens. Eye on Q. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, there won't be any tight stops if you don't step in. Absolutely.
And CYCN broke that VWAP. That's what we were kind of waiting for here. Did not launch, broke the VWAP. That might be done until it can reclaim. FYI.
Yeah, so even with these decent setups, some of them are just not resolving the way you want to see. I mean, gosh, look at some of these names that we were looking at this morning that are just even lower than where they started, where they were at yesterday, like FGL. I don't think this stock deserves to be lower. It was trading over $4 like the past 2 days.
Yeah, what a disaster this was. Holy smokes.
Glad I didn't take that one.
Me too. That one my goodness.
All right, so let's see here. Chewy, on the other hand, been slowly recovering after that green reversal candle that we had that printed 29.90. That was just a really good reversal candle. Still looking to see how high this goes. Running into a little bit of resistance. I think we've going to have a hard time getting up through 31.50. But if we do, I'd be looking at 32.50 as the next upside target. NXE, that one looks like it's trying to go up again. It's been running into some resistance around the high 850s, call it 860 if you want. Hasn't been able to hold above that yet, so that would be the next move we get up here. Let's see if we can close over 860. LEU going lower. Archer that sold off, went underneath the VWAP, and
Archer's trying to pop right here as we speak.
Yeah, it's trying to move up. Volume's not looking great though. Market breadth is not so hot. Getting some of that from the happy hour chat.
No, it isn't.
CLSK and HUT, those are two, and I suppose right as well. They're still trying to move up here. Mara and MicroStrategy not having the greatest time.
Bitcoin was pulling back earlier, so yeah, Bitcoin's still pulling off its recent high level here. Let's take a look at Mara. I haven't really even looked at that.
That's incredible, Christopher, how that works. All right. What is, oh, look at the BBAI. That is still, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say MSTR is really struggling with that 383.40 level that we've identified. You were saying BBAI. Is that giving us a trade setup right now?
Well, it's been trying to get over or up to that 280 that I had mentioned earlier before the audio issues, and it's still trying to make its way up there. It's got a couple of levels of resistance. You have the, I have that level marked off because that was a previous level from a past price action, but also the 65 EMA is in the way there. So we need to see volume expansion to get through both of those. Varch was looking much better. Maybe we get a break over 730 today, but I still think this is going to come back in later this week. Just based on the technicals. BTC trying to shake the weekends off? Yeah, probably. Is that why you were having an Echo X Sniper? Because you had 2 streams? That'll do it.
And Okta gave back. Okta retracing almost all of its earnings pop there. I didn't take that one in terms of the butterfly. I wonder how that one ended up working out. CRGY, this is what a recent Tim Melvin pick. This retraced some of that move down. Remember, he said that was a long-term trade. That's an add on weakness there. CRGY. I tell you what, man, this NBIS, this is going. We might have to figure out some other levels for this one.
It might just be that you just take, start with a little bit now and then just average in.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
But
I mean, I want to add it on days where it's down. I'm not trying to buy it up 8.5% here, but this is one that, I know we talked about this one and we talked about unsure if it had enough money to really kind of go the data center route that it wanted to. Was that money clean coming from Russia? I'll tell you what, that was down in the teens handle. This thing's $30+ now. This looking good here. NVIDIA looks like that's trying to go red-green here. Watch NVIDIA on a red-green move.
Some of these mining plays. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, and I totally misspoke. It is green here. It looking like it's trying to retake the pre-market high there. Not a good day for me, 13. I feel better though. At least that's the good news.
Interesting mention Soundhound here. I don't know if this is going to end up rolling over or not. It just lost VWAP, but it does have an interesting formation. So the buyers would have to step in real soon here and take this thing back up. Otherwise, I think we're going to probably go down to about 930s.
Real quick here, CYCN, this is one that we've been watching. While I have this above the VWAP in trading view, this is actually beneath the 648 VWAP in my broker. So this is trying to close the gap to VWAP, it looks like, at least on that 3-minute chart here. Volume has really compressed. So unless that volume starts to turn around or expand, we might just be waiting this one out.
H2 that Easy Mike was mentioning, we can call this one Hawk 2 if we want to. This one is
here we go. Look out.
This one's trying to break out into new intraday highs. Actually, we did get a new intraday high print, but the pre-market highs, I'm sorry, that's after hours high. The after hours high yesterday was 80 cents. Trying to get back up to there. That's HTOO. Hawk 2. CX. Still not able to turn around. It was trying, but this is what I'm telling you, folks. This is not looking like one of those days where things that look like they're setting up are going to work out. We are not getting a lot of things working out here.
We're
That's what
not
I'm
getting a
saying.
lot of follow through. We're
Right.
not getting a lot of follow through at all on any of these moves. We are getting some of the moves and some of the pops, but really no like big runners or big follow through that we've been accustomed to, unfortunately.
Yeah, so that's kind of the reason why I'm really leaning towards making sure your stops are a little bit tighter today, so that you don't get hurt in these names. Alt bullish.
Yeah, alt's holding up near its highs here.
And
Oh my gosh.
what's that?
Someone bought, listen to this, someone bought 101 Meta 1,150 calls that expire January 15th, 2027. So those are some leaps right there.
Yeah.
Those are some leaps. I don't know how to trade that one, though. I'm going to stay away from that. But wow.
Well, I think what you want, for me, I would want to see. Okay, so if they think that in 2027, that's going to be what's the strike they went at?
1150. 1,150. You know, a part of me is
Jesus.
wondering if this is sold. If these are sold calls and you're just trying to collect all that premium.
Yeah.
And you don't think it's going to make it over that by 2027. Because
Well,
why would you buy that instead of just buying the stock?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
I don't either.
I think this is going to come back in. But if the thought is that this goes over 1100, well, then I would think maybe buy all the dips or buy all the sell-offs. I mean, Meta has had an extraordinary couple of years.
Sure has. And I mean, I guess they're saying they don't really think it doubles from here, or they do. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the plan was there, but man, oh man, that kind of stood out there. 2027. Those are some leaps for sure.
I could see it doubling. I mean, let me put it to you this way: the whole AR glasses thing that they're heavily in right now are absolutely beating the pants off of Apple. I think they could take Apple market share just on that. I mean, there's a lot of things that I could see with going on with Meta. I mean, they also have the AI space. They're heavily invested in AI, and they have their own chips that they've been having get made. I think Meta could double in the next couple of years. Sure, why not? Look at what it's done in the past couple of years.
Real quick here, APLT, this is Applied Therapeutics, down 17% here. Set a downgrade by UBS on Monday, lowering the price target to 2. See someone in here buying tons of calls, 2,743 calls. They're cheapies. They were only 15 cents. Those are the 250 calls for January of 2025. So maybe that's a potential bounce back trade there. APLT, just kind of looking through some of the odd stuff that we're seeing here on the unusual option activity scanner. More here for Sound too. The 950 calls that expire this week. Someone swept up almost 2,500 of those. So they're looking for more of a pop here on SoundHound.
Yeah, Izzy, you can't be scaring me like that. I don't want to think about Meta buying PLTR.
Yeah, that would suck. I don't want to think about like that at all.
You're probably right, but I don't want to think about that. And then there was no try. Didn't Meta buy a nuclear plant? They have huge plans. I don't know exactly what the nuclear plans were, but yes, they do have huge plans. So much so that they need nuclear power to fuel it.
They seek the news here is Meta seeks new nuclear reactors in order to run the U.S. data centers. So what they're telling you is they're going to need way more power in order to run those.
Excellent work today in CYCM replay. And thank you for sticking with us.
Yeah, and thanks for sticking with us. We thank everyone for sticking with us. I'm sorry. It is frustrating, and I know those audio issues, especially if you have us on in the background and you're trying to focus, those audio issues are in extreme pain. Really big shout out to everybody here. Thank you, guys.
BBAI, that went all the way up to that 280 that we were looking for. Actually, it was just shy of 280. But that was the area right about there. We were looking for resistance, came back in. Now we're getting support from the 200 EMA. If we continue to hold above this 200 EMA and maybe even VWAP to the point where we get a reversal, I would anticipate that the next visit up here to that level where we just rejected at could end up breaking out if the volume matches.
Okay.
Lunar high of day, says Izzy. I think this doesn't turn around.
That was a good trade earlier.
Man, 11:30. It sold off into in the pre-market. I have so many levels where this thing is just absolutely working out. So 1265. That's the next level. Actually, we tested that earlier this morning in the regular session. So we continue to push up here. That's gonna be the breakout level. And then we just have to deal with the 200 EMA around 1275.
I'll watch CYCN here.
After 1275 in lunar, if we continue to move up, 1325 would be the next level.
CYCN might be pushing away from its VWAP here, might be trying, really needs to clear out 630 in order to do that. And let me look at the thing here. I see a little bit of size there at 627, nothing really crazy though. Volume has definitely compressed on this, so we really want to see a volume pop, but be careful on this one. I'd rethink it if it breaks 6 to the downside. CYCN needs volume. Absolutely, it does. Absolutely, it does. But the setup here, the spot here, not bad. Not bad.
I don't like the way MSTR just cannot seem to get back and hold above VWAP. But at some point it might. And if it does, that would probably be a good indication that it might be going higher. So that's something to watch for with MSTR. We start closing above VWAP, this thing could finally get going.
Yeah, a lot of wicks on this, on that 5-minute chart here on MicroStrategy. And remember that 383.40 level still in play if we do pop above this area here.
Wow, that reversal in NBIS. We're also getting a reversal in SRM.
This NBIS, this is in 3 sessions, this is 10 points. NBIS. Really kind of pissed at myself, honestly, for missing this recent move.
It was SRM, the first stop, at least that I would anticipate this to do if we're going to get this volume expansion, is to go back up to VWAP. I don't know that it's going to break through, but that's going to be the earliest target that I have, is going to VWAP. And if we do get through that, then we can talk about that trend line that we drew earlier.
Here we go, CYCN. This is what I was talking about. Let's see if we can get above this area here. I'm going to look. Okay, 638 has some size there, and it's not a whole lot. Watch this to get taken out if we still have a move higher here. They have a little bit more size there at 640, but again, neither of those spots too much to get rolled through here. Got the VWAP right at 648, it looks like. 640's got more size on that.
IDAI says I loved. The rest of your name we'll just hold off on. That's T-Stamp that he's asking about. This thing going lower, I think.
I was going to say, isn't the trade over in that one? That thing traded up recently.
Yeah, I think the trade's over here with this one.
Yeah, this was what, 90 some cents in the after hours. Yeah, we'll see. That recently had its move. CYCN though, still kind of watching this one.
Soundhound recaptured VWAP. Might be getting some more volume expansion here. If we continue to push up beyond the 9s, we're going to get resistance about 10-15.
640 still the spot to watch CYCN. If it breaks that 640, I do think this can pop higher, and I wouldn't be shocked if we went towards 7 again.
BBAI coming back up to do that 280 test.
Oh, CYCN, big pull right here. Sorry about that.
Let's see if BBAI can push through the 280s.
I'll flip over to BBAI here.
No problem. It's right there. Just need a little bit more volume to push through this. A little bit more.
That 279 spot, that's the one that you called there, 13, looking good.
Lunar broke over that 1265 and came up to test that 200 EMA. 1275, the number I was talking about, that's where we currently are seeing resistance. So we need to get through that 200 EMA because that seems to be the big hurdle at the moment. That was a really good move up to 1275 though. Oh wow.
Looks like stuff's just kind of going to these spots and then stopping there.
It seems like go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Smoke Tuna is mentioning it here on CYCN. That's exactly what we got there. We got a VWAP test. I have VWAP different on my broker here than this 605 level. I've got it at 647. We traded right up to that level. We were rejected and turned around here. Just does not have the strength to move higher here.
Those nuclear names just took a sudden dive. NXE,
All of them?
LEU. Two of them did. NXE and LEU just took a sudden dive simultaneously. Meanwhile, Oklo popped. That one popped, but it might come back in. I mean, it seems like you said, no follow through on these. Like the market's just overly cautious, and they just kind of want to wait to see what Powell's going to say. I mean, the whole big thing that I think the market's anticipating right now is if we're going to get this next rate cut next week.
I think you're right.
So we're going to be listening to Powell, and we're going to be looking at that jobs report this week in order to get clues on if we're going to get that. I personally believe we'll get that. We'll get like 25 basis points, and we probably we'll have a pause until maybe May. That's what I anticipate anyway.
Okay.
Well, Smoke Tuna, it wasn't a bomb.
It was the stocks.
It was just a stock. Man, not sure about CYCN here.
No, it's looking like it's on its last gasp here. We'll see if it recaptures 6 and moves higher here. I don't know though. Volume. We said it earlier. It was all about the volume.
Mm-hmm. Let's take this one off. SRM is still trying to push back up to VWAP. But remember, we're not getting a lot of follow through on these. So, I wouldn't be afraid to sell into the next pop or the next big move that it has. I think that would be the safest way to go about these trades, especially when it comes to these smaller names that were moving. That just don't have the follow through today.
Take a look at the SPY here real quick. So we were talking about the SPY moving down here. Whoop, what happened here? SPY right back and at the pre-market highs here.
Yeah, buy the dip at all cost.
Yeah. I was going to say there's not anything going on at that deal book summit that would attribute this. I don't think so, though.
It's just algos buying the dip. That's what they're programmed to do.
Ryan, do you have any issues with the Benzinga mobile app? It keeps telling me to try again. No, Tom, sorry. I'm not familiar. I haven't used it at all yet today or yesterday. So maybe I'm just unaware. But no, I'm not aware of anything. I'm sorry, dude.
I'm cycling through all these names that we've been looking at today. A lot of them aren't looking, too encouraging or enticing to get into trades. IonQ is having a pretty decent day. That made a high of 34.85.
We'll check that out.
That one's still trying to move up. Got AI still moving up. That's up over 6.5% today. Just continuing to grind. Might see 40 pretty soon. That was a great call yesterday. And
yeah, that sure was. And this higher here today.
Mm-hmm.
Off that move yesterday.
I mean, Lion Atlas. That's gonna take a lot of time. I mean, if he even can, I don't know that he can. I mean, with the help of Congress, it's possible, but that could be an ugly fight. EOSE. This one is pushing up to take out the intraday high of 309. This suddenly got a bunch of volume. Not sure on what. This was one that we were looking 308.
At Is there anything on the? Let's see. Anything on the tape that looks strange? No, that looks fairly normal. It might have just been just a bigger buy here. It didn't really. I don't see anything that really kind of looks odd there.
Soundhound might be gearing up to go to 10. All right, I think you might be getting this move in SRM that you want to maybe start to trim or sell into. It's really starting to move now. Getting closer to VWAP too. I think VWAP, when it touches it, it's going to, probably, I don't think it's going to get completely slapped down, but it's going to, have a little bit of fight trying to get over VWAP, maybe even pull a little bit. And then, yeah, just the SPY just continues to grind higher. All that concentration in a small amount of names. Here we go with Soundhound. Just need to take out that 889. I'm sorry, 989, and then we can get our 10 print. At 989, there's actually a huge wall at 990 that it's got to get through. But if we get that volume expansion and take it out, I'm pretty sure that 10 is going to be it.
Tell you what, the buy here was that VWAP. I think it's a chase up here. I would not go after that high of daybreak.
So Lunar couldn't move past 1275 yet. Lost that 1265. As far as support goes, let's see if it gets some of that around 1240, 1245. And this, here we go with Soundhound. Just got to get through that 990, and then fireworks, I imagine.
PSTG, watch if that can break the after hours highs yesterday.
Microvast trying to cut back up to BWAP as well. If you were getting a mention of CX, that bounced off the 65 EMA. That is also trying to get back up to its VWAP that I have at 579. Archer consolidating sideways. Joby, not so much the same as Archer, just trying to push higher incrementally. But at some point, this feels like it's going to, roll over. Couldn't say when though. Yeah, CX really starting to look like it's trying to get back up to VWAP. SRM almost touching VWAP there. Man, Soundhound just looks ready. We just need to see that volume. That's really the only thing missing from Soundhound at this point. It's just that volume that's going to push us up higher through 990. Lunar back up, trying to take out that 1275. It's right there. We push through that. We could look at 1325 as the next upside target. Might be getting some VWAP test here with SRM soon.
Looks like someone was closing a Chewy calls order. I was wondering if anyone was going to buy this dip here at support. Sorry, 13. I just ran you over again.
BBAI trying to push over the 65 EMA. This might be the move we're waiting for here. So many of these are just really set up to have a good breakout. We just are not getting the volume to match.
Nope, we sure aren't.
Super frustrating, but that's what it is.
Because it's almost like it's faking you out, right? Like right here, like BBAI, this sure looks like this wants to go here. There really isn't even a ton of size there at the 279 area, at least not that I see. I see more above here at 285, but you're right. There's just no volume. There's nothing pushing it higher past this level. Probably just pulls off this level again, to be honest. Tesla, nice little bounce today.
Joby with a slightly higher high intraday. Yeah, I'm just kind of waiting for some of these things to make their move. I could fill the dead air with noise about how I'm waiting, like I am now. But
yeah, I'm in no trades right now. Just to kind of be clear, I know we had a lot going on there. I'm in no trades at the moment. I don't really see any setups that I like. I'm itching to trade though. Like I want to do something here, so I'd be curious if you guys have anything. I don't see anything great though.
OKLO. Sorry, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Turn being mentioned here by Geo in the chat. I'll take a look at it here. Turn right up at the highs here. Again, kind of low volume. Don't really see a setup there, but this is a nice little push off VWAP. SMCI, we haven't even looked at that yet here today. It's not really doing a whole lot of anything. It's a trade to stay in cash. Smoke Tuna, you're right about that. You're right about that. And that's the thing. Like I want to trade, but I'm just not. I'm not going to do it unless I see a setup that I really want.
Also getting a mention on Huhu, Huhu. It's a new IPO. This thing looks like it's one of these halt uppers. It's looks like it's been halting.
Yeah, this is the third halt of the day to the upside here.
Mm-hmm. MIGI, talk of bankruptcy, says Jonathan Cooper. Arista Stocks says asking about NNE and Zeta.
App looks like this might break the high. Good morning, Britt. This does look like this is trying to go the high. Which one were you looking at?
There's the break of Soundhound. We're at 994, new intraday high. This got to get through 10 now. 1015 is a big resistance area I have, even though it looks like right now at 10 might be the spot. Archer still trying to push back up. This one, Archer looks like it might get back up to 730. Take a look at some of those names of those folks.
Actually, this intraday 5-minute chart on Archer looks great for trying to go higher here. I do want to see more volume, though. Again, with the volume, and actually looking at the SPY here, volume has also, we traded right back up to that 606 level, and the volume just died out.
Yes, Cade Father. Powell is talking today at 1:45 Eastern.
Yep, Dealbook Summit. Andrew Ross Sorkin is there from CNBC. I'm sure he's going to be talking to him. PSTG still might be going up to that pre-market high. Sorry, 13, what was that?
I just saw that Izzy said 3 for 3, no trades right now, not forcing. That's great discipline. That's what you want to see, especially in markets like this where the things just aren't really working out.
I've made 2 today. I've made 2 trades today.
Huhu is open and looks like it hit 950 and tried to turn around. I don't know if it's done or not. Looks like it's pushing back up higher now. I had a couple of trades that were good today. I'm currently seeing the small position in SRM right now to see if it can get back up to BWAP. We almost had it there, but I may just end up closing this one for a small loss, which would still leave me green in the day.
I did see some Rigetti calls. Those are the $5 calls that expire in February. Rigetti here doing a really good job of holding 3. So if you think that quantum computing theme is moving, going to keep moving forward here, maybe that Rigetti is something to look at there.
There is no try. I was mentioning Rocket Lab. This thing had a pretty good morning. It dropped out of the open to 22.34, and now it just launched to 24.
I like what you did there.
Huhu halted to the downside. I'm not going to say that anymore.
Yeah, it's funny. Huhu. QBT or QUBT, excuse me. This is curling back up towards the intraday high there. I'm not sure I feel good about taking that one though. CYCN did finally get back to 6 there.
You know, Line Atlas, we had a discussion about whether or not coin or MSTR would be the better way to go with crypto, and I agree that they, will probably have a good earnings report because of the amount of trading with crypto, those transaction fees that they're going to get. But I think the point that was made when I was, making the case for this was that MSTR doesn't have nearly the overhead or the responsibility to employees that that coin does. I think, Ryan, you kind of helped me out here with what State Focus was explaining about, but I liked his take on it, and it made me think, MSTR might be even, the more safer trade than coin at this point.
Yeah, so I don't know that the MSTR is still going to be more volatile than coin, I feel like, right? MSTR, there's still people out there saying that this is, scheme and dangerous and all that. I don't really know. What I will say here, like this current coin chart, like look what this is doing here.
Yeah.
This is a daily chart. Like we have this nice little flag formation on this really clean break above a level. This to me looks like this is going to try and go higher. Now today we tried to break out of this. I know that this is a little bit janky and it probably looks like that. But man, oh man, to me it sure looks like coin 360 might be the play here. Now, as far as which one is better, MicroStrategy or coin, I'm not sure I'm ready to pick a side on that, to be honest with you, 13. I'm intrigued by the MSTR business model and all that, and how much Bitcoin they actually hold. But my big problem with that is like I feel like I don't fully understand the business, and it's causing me to have some trepidation on that. I understand coin and I use it, so I feel better about trading that here. I still need to do more work on MSTR. I'm sorry, I don't have a better answer for you, dude.
No, I was just trying to get a little bit more information about what was said in that happy hour, because I can't remember everything.
Yeah, me either.
I thought you had a little bit more. Yeah, SRM is starting to move. Also, SoundHound did break over 10, still over it right now. Got as high as 10.09, so almost to that 10.15 target I was looking for. But that was, man, this move here in SoundHound after that reversal was great. Not sure how much more we're going to get out of this. If we break over 10.15 and hold above that, I have 10.85, 10.90 as the next potential area where we're going to find resistance.
CYCN, that might be done here.
CYCN?
Yeah, I think that might be done. Groupon having a decent day here today on volume.
CYCN probably is done for now. It potentially could come back later, maybe after the lunch hour, but I would want to see it rebound off the 65 EMA first. Altimmune looks like it's about to make another intraday high. Okay, maybe SRM finally makes a move here up to maybe even through VWAP. Want to see the volume a little bit better. Amazon new 52-week high. I mean, at this point, isn't it a new all-time high? We're just we're in blue sky territory with Amazon, I think. Let's take a look and double check. Pretty sure we are. Yes.
Yeah, we are. Amazon, this is a great call, Izzy. I know you've been on this one recently. This really has been the winner of the Black Friday holiday. As far as any of those go, this one, the clear winner.
Look, it's created an archipelago on the daily chart.
The series of little islands to the higher here.
It's a fun new word for trading, huh?
I've always liked the word archipelago. Yeah, CYCN. Yep. Maybe if this gets kicked up in the afternoon here, really needs volume. Volume just died out here.
I still have some Amazon left over from when I picked it up in October last year. That was what was my cost on that? It just looked like it was a really good opportunity.
Yeah, and it was. $10 puts for SoundHound expire in January.
I picked it up for $119. Any explanations for the CYCN climb today? No.
No, we had no news on that. We just had a big mover here in the pre-market, still up 300%, almost 267%. No news.
And the toll forming, is that what we're going to call it? Or is that what it's known as?
No, he's just joking around. Yeah, islands, archipelagos, atolls. NBIS, this actually looks like this is trying to go higher here.
Sandbars. Let's just dig further into, let's dig further into the sack, why don't we? All right. So HU still halt to the downside. SoundHound, we got a little bit of a pull there, trying to get back over 10. And BIS trying to push up higher, trying to go to $33. H2, this one's coming back. Looks like it's trying to move up some more. Yep, and Crow's seeing it too. Smoke Tuna saying CYCN not dead.
It needs volume, though. I mean, maybe not, because it's not really like breaking down, but it really needs volume. I don't have a trade there.
Well, I mean, look at what it's doing, like where it's getting some support from. We have this demand zone that we created in the pre-market here that it's coming down to. Now, if we blow right through that, I'd say, yeah, it's pretty much done. But it's getting support from that demand area. So if we turn around here, it's likely going back up and possibly through VWAP. Okay, Soundhound back up to 10. Looking for a move over 10.15.
Remember, we just saw those Soundhound puts come through here.
It's a good question, Market Sniper, but I'm sure every city that allowed a bar to be put in required it so that they could, you know, have another revenue stream. You know, ticketing people. Lots of sideways action, folks. Joby coming back in. High of the day, it was 845.
That's the pre-market high from yesterday. Couldn't get above it. Alt looking like that's going to test 11.
Great job on your winners, Line Atlas. Today was a decent day, with, you know, even with the audio issues. Not a whole lot of great trades. We did have some. I'm hoping we have a better day tomorrow because the volume wasn't great today.
I feel like they died out quickly today.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we had a bunch of opportunities, a bunch of targets this morning that really kind of died out.
And I feel like a lot of that is just the market kind of waiting for Val to speak. Like, because that's going to affect all these, you know, names that we're trading here, all these movers that need cash and depend on rates, and all the IWM names. They all are kind of waiting to see what Powell says, because that's going to give you a window, a keyhole, if you will, into their next decision. I'm pretty sure they're going to raise 25 basis points.
Okay. Wait, raise or cut?
I'm sorry, cut. 25 basis point cut.
Okay, I was like, raise. I was like,
I'm sorry.
I know that'd be, man, you tell me about that'd be an unexpected piece of news. We would have some trades on our hand if that's
gosh. that would trigger some really huge volatility in the market if we saw the Fed just suddenly turn around and raise.
Oh man. I thought about it for a sec. I was like, that would be fun, actually.
I could see markets going red over that.
Yeah, but only for like 20 minutes until the buy the dippers come back.
Maybe. I don't know. It depends on if they're on the wrong side of that trade. They might just completely unwind whatever they were building up towards. I don't know. Yeah, Daniel, it does. A lot of these do.
BBAI, maybe 280. Yeah, take care, Lion.
Yeah, it's smoked tuna. It's turkey sandwich week, so everybody's tired, including the stocks.
I don't have Thanksgiving leftovers at this point anymore.
I mean, either.
Yeah,
I ate them all.
Not bad.
BIS. That one's still moving up.
I wish I still hung on to some of that.
Well, you know, we bought a bunch of it with on speculation. We didn't have anything solid,
and I made like 7 points on it. Like, so I'm not, you know, it's not as if nothing happened. I made like 7 points in pretty quick order too.
Smoked to mentioning PW. That thing just popped over 2, came back in.
This thing popped on volume too.
This thing has been popping recently and then coming right back in. So I would not expect today be any different. Tomorrow, well, I would just be out of this today, because if you look at a daily chart, you might get an indication that tomorrow is going to be one of those days where we go red. Okay, are we going to finally get this move in SRM, or am I just going to have to take a small loss here and just call it good?
Roku, that ended up going higher too. And Next Gen Energy, that came all the way back in.
Yeah. How's LEU doing? LEU going down to the intraday lows. QUBT, on the other hand, looks like this thing wants to go and break out of 675. want and actually doing are two different things, by the way, especially with volume like this. Gosh, so many things that just look like they could do something, but they're not because of the volume. NBIS, here we go, about to hit 33. Unreal.
All right, yeah, that is unreal. Man, oh man. Good stuff there. There is no try.
Gary Frost mentioning OPTT. Thank you, Lion, for the like. Let's take a look at OPTT. Also, Ryan,
stock.
But this was the drone one.
Yeah.
I think what the Happy Hour was wanting to do today is put together some of these 2025 themes list, and drones is one of them.
Okay.
So that's something we're going to want to do.
Yeah, let's do that. That sounds like a good idea. More NBIS calls going off, by the way. There might be people taking profit on that move higher here.
So they're selling calls?
Or just they were in them lower and they're just taking some off here as it moves up. Gotcha. CYCN above the VWAP here.
Uh-oh. Is it coming back?
It popped above its VWAP. It's struggling to really kind of go here.
Oh, I still have my VWAP and my broker's at 664, so it still has a ways to go. Altimmune still putting in new intraday highs. Rio Tinto might break the intraday highs here. Volume needs to be a little bit better, but it's got the setup.
Okay, we are waiting for Zunaid here. He's going to take. Oh, look at that! Zunaid's out on his walk. No wonder.
I am on my walk. You know what I mean? Your leftovers of Thanksgiving may be done with, but unfortunately, the weight is still hanging on with me. So we're trying to get that off from Thanksgiving.
I feel you, man. I'm out there every day that I'm not sick. I'm with you.
I hear you. Well, as I heard 13 talk about, you guys still had some profitable trades, it seems, even with StreamYard up. So that's always good. Mm-hmm. Any final thoughts before we go to story trading?
I'm just going to say my final thought is I hope StreamYard doesn't give us any type of temperamental problems tomorrow.
Yes. And if you are not having the greatest day trading because the volume is not looking good, maybe just hang it up for today and or wait for till after the lunch hour when things might pick up again. But don't try to force anything that's going to get you hurt. It's not a very big volume day today, folks.
Yeah. It hasn't been all week. All right, Zunaid. Take care.
See you, Ryan. See y'all tomorrow. All right, chat. Here is what the game plan is for the rest of the day in terms of content. We're going to have Ben, Brett, and Godfather with story trading coming on for 30 minutes. And then after that, it'll be myself and Kevin coming on to talk about some futures trading with Apex. And then you'll be in for a special treat with Paul Meeks. We'll redirect you to that stream to talk some fundamentals and what's going on so far to end the year. He'll go ahead and mention that. Ben, what's going on, man?
Oh, man, it's been awesome. First of all, I love that you're on your treadmill. This is a new trend everyone's got to start because everyone's sitting at their desks in this generation. It's physical therapists are getting rich, and we got to make this a trend. Every time we go live, we got to be like doing exercises, walking. I love it.
Man, listen, I'm spending money on like a gym coach, a therapist. I got to cut money somewhere. You know what I mean? So might as well start here with the walk. So let me go ahead and get Rhett up here and the Godfather as well. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Ben, I'm going to put your screen on. It's all you. I'll be back in 30.
Awesome. All right. Well, wow. We are having an awesome day today. 4 out of 4 on our top picks from our morning show. NBIS, number 1 pick. Snow, number 2 pick. Talk, number 3 pick. We gave that to you at $3.50 in our Discord pre-market. And DJT made our top 5, number 4 pick. And you won't believe it. Both the Godfather and I are bullish and long DJT. Wow. No one had that on your bingo card when we started our Discord 5 months ago. Wow. What a day. Oh, my gosh. I have to start. I got to start Godfather with MOB because something's happening right now. And I was planning on telling the Benzinga crew here. Oh, I forgot to live stream this to my audience, Zunaid. Let me do that to get you guys more viewers on X. Let me see. Story trading live on Benzinga. Let's go. All right. And then we'll throw in our top picks, such as SNOW today, NBIS, Talk, DJT, and we're going to talk some mob right now. All right. So I heard the other guys talking about OPTT. Well, if you want to talk drones, story trading is the place to be. Thanks to the Godfather, we've been all over the drone theme since this summer. RCAT at like under $2, now $10. We've interviewed the CEO. We interviewed the CEO of UMAC. Oh no, the chairman of the board of UMAC. We have other. I got some surprises for you guys soon. I got some other interviews coming up in the drone sector. But we were all over this move on UMAC from like $5 to $23. So we are drone central at Story Trading. And Godfather, let's start with MOB. Someone on Twitter, I think it was Sunday night. What are we, Wednesday? It must have been Sunday night. Tweeted me, what do you think about MOB? And I didn't know what it was. I looked it up and I like my jaw hit the floor. I'm like, this has got to be the cheapest, best drone stock out there. I immediately made it my largest drone position in my trading portfolio. And Godfather, I'm going to let you take it from here. Let me just say that this could be just getting started. The shape of this chart looks like UMAC before it exploded, has a lot of upside potential. Go ahead, Godfather. Tell us about MOB, and then we'll go through the other top picks of the day.
Yeah, so look, after ARCAT won the SSR contract, the light really started to shine on these drone names, and it was further accentuated by Musk talking about how drone technology is, going to start to replace the likes of the F-35 in terms of CapEx for the military going forward. That's gotten people excited about drones. I don't think there's any dispute about the future of electronic warfare in the battlefield. Drones are going to play a major part. So when you get a rally that's led by leaders, people start to look for the companies that are sympathy plays or smaller or going down the quality curve and so on. So we saw, the likes of UMAC and KULR and PDYN and PRZO and so on, just skyrocket. And, I'm a fundamental guy, so I got to look at valuations. You just got to get a sense for where these things have gotten to. And, some of them got to like 20 times. Now, CEO of ARCAT will point that the private drone companies get multiples around 20 times. And again, we're all talking on earnings here because a lot of these are development companies. So we have to look at revenues for a metric. So that's kind of the high end of the mark. Then we filter down and we look at a company like MOB, which hadn't really been discovered yet. And the thing was trading at around 2 times. And that's assuming zero growth. Yet the company grew, in the most recent, they report their 6-month numbers, which were up 230% year over year. So I'm being very, very conservative in that. So you can look at the piece I put out on X on it. Even at 0% growth and half of the multiple that's being seen by some of these other smaller drone companies that are participating in this, mania, if you will, you get 450. Again, that's half of the multiples. The multiples are probably stretched right now for a lot of these names. That puts you at around 6 times. And again, that's on 0% growth in revenue. So,
and their balance sheet and their cap structure, I think, is very, very clean, if I'm not mistaken.
Unlike some of these names like KULR and some others that people were saying to look at ONDS and so on. Well, a lot of these companies have been struggling for a long time, so they've had to resort to some fairly dilutive financing. These guys did an IPO. They still retain most of the cash from the IPO because they're very, very disciplined on cost. They've been burning just over $550,000 a quarter. That's it. And they retain about 10 million in cash. There are just a few dilutes in the balance sheet that bring them up to around 13 million in cash. So they've got a long runway. And it looks to me, when I modeled it out, that they could, by the end of next year, be operating cash flow positive. So, this
what's
is
the enterprise value?
Supplier, not unlike UMAC. They're providing operating systems, they're providing some hardware, but it's really the communications and making it all cyber secure. So, for data transmission, both to the drones to instruct them for operations, and then also, of course, collecting the data that these guys are collecting.
So this market cap, we should say, be careful. I'm not careful because I think the value is really good. The market cap's 18 million. It's not a shitco. This is a good company. But how much of that market cap is cash of that 18 million?
So Yeah, there's fully diluted. So there's 2 million warrants at $1.55, which are now obviously in the money. We don't know if those have been converted or not, but I suspect that they will fairly shortly. So if you fully dilute the share capital, then you get around 8.7 million out. And what are we at today? We're at 280 now, currently, right?
Yeah.
So 2 times 8.7. So that's 24 million, and the fully diluted cash is 12.8. Let's assume they burned another 550 on that. So we're like 12.3. So 12.3 million, almost half the market cap is cash.
So half the market cap is net cash.
Net
That's
cash. Yeah.
That's great. And they have, you should go, you guys go do your own research. You can go to their investor relations page, take a look at their last earnings report, take a look at their customers that they have and their clients. This is a legit company, legit product. They're not a shitco. And now it's my largest drone position, at least in my trading account. So this one just started to take off. I was not planning on making it the top part of the show here, but look at this. It's just starting to break out. So I had to tell you guys about it. All right, let's go back to our top picks for the day. Take a look at that. You guys know NBIS, the show before us, so we're talking about that. We made this our number one pick of the day. Very clear, easy target in this gap. We have a $34 target on it after the coverage by Citron yesterday. I'm still in this trade, and it's working beautifully. Let me run through these quickly, Godfather, and then you can come back with if you have any comments. Second pick of the day was Snow. This was on sentiment. Marvell beat. So you had Marvell pushing up the whole AI sector. I already liked the ER here. I added it to my long-term account. You had this consolidation in pre-market. It was breaking out above this 178.70 level. So we made this number two pick of the day with a price target. Let me tell you, the price target I have in this pretty significant, guys. It's at the bottom of this gap is where I think it can go next, right over here, which is 194.20. Not exactly the bottom of the gap. The next day, right where the high was, 194.20. So Snow, I wish I was more aggressive with this. I added more common shares to my long term. In my trading account, I've just been scalping calls. I wish I just got a nice big fat position and held it all day. But when you make a quick profit, which I did in the morning, I'm like, oh, let me get out. And then I'm in my third go around with some call options, small size, but second pick of the day. Working great. All four are killing it. The next pick we had was Talk. Initiated this as a 4-pillar pick in our Discord community. Not only as a trade for today, but also a long-term pick. Actually, I don't think I heard your opinion on this, Godfather, but this is a company I've been familiar with for a long time. I used to own it as an investment for a long time. Down here, I got a lot of this move from below $1 to $2.50. And then I checked out after it hit $2.50. I've been monitoring it. They've had a lot of amazing progression in the last couple quarters. This company's flipped to profitability. They have $118 million in net cash. They recently did a deal with Amazon. They deal with the U.S. Navy that they're piloting. They do mental health services. This morning, analyst comes out, Mizuho, with a $5 price target. So I thought this was good for both a day trade and a long-term investment. Initiated at $3.50 this morning in pre-market, and that one's up 7%. I definitely want to come back to that in a second to get your thoughts on that, Godfather. And then DJT, wow. Are you kidding me? We're both, you more than me care about fundamentals, but I also care about fundamentals. So usually, I don't touch DJT. If I do it, it's day trades only. Now I'm swinging DJT because there's just so much smoke around crypto right now. First, it was that rumor with BKTT. And then you had Rumble, which they're closely associated, adopting a Bitcoin treasury program. And I think they're going to announce something Bitcoin. I do. And the technicals look great. I was anticipating a break of the 200 DMA earlier this week. We got it now today. So I actually increased my position on this 200 DMA break. And there you have our top 4 picks of the day, all of them at Story Trading, exploding with beautiful charts. 4 for 4. What a great day for us. Godfather, I'm curious your thoughts on Talk, if you've looked into it yet.
So I haven't. I have to admit I have not gotten to Talk yet. So let me defer on that one until I've had a chance to look at it. But I will say that several smart people that I follow have been bugging me to have a look at it as well. So where there's sparks and smoke, there's usually fire. And this is obviously a very healthy space. People love the the telehealth space, and they get nice multiples. So if the fundamentals are like you say they are, then it's certainly worth looking at. Now, one of the ones that I have looked at is NBIS in terms of valuation. So let me come back and give you my thoughts. I'll put my thoughts into our Discord on talk later today, and then we can maybe hit on Benzinga next week. But on NBIS, look, this is the old Yandex, which was Russia's Google.
Yep.
All the smart engineers, there's like 850 top engineers, AI, ML engineers, went with the spin-off into NBIS, which is now essentially a European data play. This is an analog for CoreWeave. It's an analog for Core Scientific's UORZ. CoreWeave, of course, is getting a lot of press because they're going to IPO in 2025. They just raised $650 million in October in a deal led by Goldman, JP Morgan, and Morgan Stanley, who are obviously going to do the IPO as well. Microsoft, I think, invested, or there was a rumor they were investing to give them a value of $23 billion. I don't have good numbers in terms of earnings for CoreWeave, but just looking at Core's is currently trading at 7.6 times on an EV to sales basis. This is for high performance compute, which is the business that NBIS is in. If you look at the NBIS investor presentation, they're talking about 400 to 600 million in revenue for 2025, depending on the timing of rolling out these data centers. So if you look at the 700 million that was recently added through the investment by NVIDIA and others, they've got 3 billion in cash. Take that off of their current market cap, and you get an EV to sales somewhere in the 8.7 at the low end of the range, of the revenue range, high end of the multiple range, to 5.8 on the high end of the revenue range. So compare. Let's assume it's in the middle at 500 million for next year. You've got a full multiple and a half of expansion just to get to the CORZ or Core Scientific multiple. Obviously, the multiples in this whole group are going to go up if CoreWeave comes out with a successful IPO. So I think there's juice left in the NBIS trade. I get to around 37.50 or 37. Nice. Yeah, $37.50.
All right, that sounds good. Any thoughts on Snow, our second pick of the day here?
Don't know Snow at all, honestly.
Okay.
Don't know.
And how about DJT? Let's talk that, because that was a shock when you told me you're long DJT. I'm like, you're kidding me.
No,
two guys who care about fundamentals, and you're much more than me, and we're both in DJT now. Let's talk about it.
So let's not talk about the fundamentals because you can't really value this thing. This is going to be the ultimate sentiment play. There's probably still a big short position in this. Here's the thesis, and I think we share this. Look, you're seeing Rumble, you're seeing other guys that are close to the incoming administration all go towards crypto. We know that he's appointed a crypto-friendly head of the SEC. There's already talk about a crypto strategic reserve. I think it's going to be a reality. I really do. And I think all those that are close to Trump know it. And this is why you're seeing the likes of Rumble, go to a Bitcoin treasury strategy. So again, it's a sparks and smoke type, mosaic. Put it together. I think there's going to be some fire there. The rumors of them buying the crypto exchange backed the KKT just kind of add to that that spark and smoke type picture. So yeah, I think it's worth a punt. I bought April warrants or April options to give myself lots of time. March options to give myself lots of time. So we've seen it before in DJT. I think, all it's going to take is for a spike up to the $50 level, which could easily happen on announcement of any kind of crypto strategy.
Yeah. And
those options can pay big. You do have to pay a big time premium for them, but, because of the volatility in the stock, but that's the way I'm playing it. And that's the thesis. Simple as that.
That's fun.
Way beyond where it probably should in terms of valuation.
I love it. Glad to have you on board on a shitco in a way. All right. Love it. Look at this. UMAC, unfortunately, the re-entry, man, we nailed this. This was the biggest win maybe of the year for me, at least in my trading account. RCAP and TSSI was my largest one of the year, followed by RCAT in my long-term accounts. In my trading account, boy, did I ever nail UMAC, and it's still probably my biggest win, even though we have this pullback. So I loaded up big at $7 after Trump Jr. was added to the board. Sold it up at like 18, so it was like almost a triple for me with big size after just a couple days. But I re-entered at 14 and smaller size, thank God, and then I had 18. So I re-entered looking for a bottom and a bounce back, and unfortunately haven't had it yet. This $10 is a big important support level, and it's testing it right now. Man, I'm going through some pain. On this, but I'm not going to give in on it, because I think having Trump Jr. on the board is a sentiment related event that will lead to better fundamentals. All right. I don't care whatever anyone says, whatever official statements they say about, government contracts. If you have Trump Jr. on board, I think the chances that they're going to win a government contract have skyrocketed in 2025. That's just my thoughts on it, which is why I view this as an inflection catalyst. Right, market cap 84 million. It's higher because there were some new shares that came in the last few days or week with some conversions and warrants. Maybe that's putting some pressure on the stock. But when do you think this will turn around, and where do you think the bottom is going to be? Godfather, are we going to hold $10 here?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think we're getting close. And so here's it. It's easy to have some comfort when you know what's going on behind the scenes. So we know that there were 4.1 million shares that were issued to investors on conversion of their converts. The cost base on those is $1.99. So, these guys have all got a 5x even at $10. Those shares were probably issued like in the hands of investors in their accounts for sale starting yesterday, which is where the pressure really started on the stock. And a lot of these guys probably are just receiving their shares this morning. So we got to chew through that. We traded 11 million shares yesterday. We've traded 5 million today. Obviously, when their stock is weak and you got a lot of retail guys that don't know what's going on, they sell because of the weakness, and it just compounds. So I think we chew through that 4 million here. We're probably going to trade over 10 million again today in the next couple of days. There is another 630,000 shares on warrants that are good until August of 29.
Oh, we just broke below $10. That was an important level for me. We just broke below 10. It's sad to see that. I'll just have to bear more pain.
Yeah, no, I'm actually, so I'm with you in this. I am long, but I will be adding on further weakness here because
I really don't do stop losses unless I'm trading like a stock intraday that I don't really know.
I said on our Discord this morning, expect 2 to 3 days of softness here, so you can be patient. But this thing will turn around quickly. So on a valuation basis now, where we are fully diluting all of this cash and all of these new shares, we're now down to the same valuation that we're currently seeing on RCAT. So, RCAT is 100 million shares outstanding. This thing fully diluted is 15 million or 16 million fully diluted. The float is a lot less than that still. So float's probably up to around 7 or 8 million now. So you got Donald Trump Jr. and an 8 million float company trading at the same valuation as RCAT. Any fire that
when you say same valuation, you're talking about when you say just to clarify for folks, when you say same valuation, you mean the EV to sales multiple. That's what you mean.
Yes,
right?
EV to sales multiple for 2025, and I'm using the current forecast that was out there, and this was prior to Donald Trump Jr. being involved, prior to the SSR contract win by RCAT. And that's 17.3 million. I think that number is probably low. Think about the size of these military contracts out there. To the extent that these guys are one of the few U.S. made part suppliers, and we've got the NDAA and the ADSA, which are ASDA, which are all mandating a U.S. based supply chain for drones. And there's a dearth of publicly listed companies. So is 10 times EV to sales next year a high multiple? You bet it is. But there aren't that many names. And look at the growth here. even if they do just 17 million, it represents 66% growth over last year. I think that number is probably going to come in somewhere closer to 20 or 25 million, in which case, the multiple is probably somewhere down around 7. So just so you know, the big dog in the industry, which reports after the close today, AVAV, is currently trading at 6 times EV to sales, but they're growing top line at 11%. So, there obviously isn't a sexy story there versus buying a low float company that could double their revenues year over year.
Rhett, we've hogged all the time. What's in your mind?
Sounds good. I mean, you guys covered it all mainly with the drone sector, but we do have a few questions popping up if you guys want to go into those.
Go ahead. What do you got for us?
Sounds good. Alrighty. So the first one is going to be ONDS, and this also plays into the drones.
Well, look, we are Drone Central, so we know everything about, I don't want to say everything, but we know a lot about all those drone stocks. And we gave, thank you, The Godfather, we gave a big signal to stay away from it. We put that very clearly in our Discord, actually made like a separate thread with a little red icon to stay away from it. Godfather, why did you give that signal, stay away from ONDS?
Yeah, look, you got to tick a couple of boxes here. Otherwise, you got other choices in the sector, because effectively all of these are vehicles to play the same thing, which is more and more money and excitement coming towards this group. So, if you can choose between a company with a clean capital structure or one that's got a bunch of death spiral type financing in it, which means the people that are participating in these convertible deals and giving financing to the companies are able to convert at discounts to VWAP, and therefore they can drive the share price down. They can short the stock, drive the share price down, and be guaranteed at always getting a discount to whatever the lowest prevailing price is, or average of lowest prices over a certain period of time. So this is toxic financing. And like I said, a lot of these companies have been struggling for a long time and had to resort to this kind of toxic financing to keep the lights on. So there are names like MOB that have, completely.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say.
I'm
like,
finance
your loss.
cash flow positivity. And then there are others that have to work through all this dilution. What do you want to do? Do you want to have a headwind or do you want to have a tailwind?
Yeah, and that's what I would say. If you're in it, my advice, I'm not a financial consultant, but I would say take your loss if you're in a loss on ONDS and buy something like MOB. What's the next question, Rhett?
Then there's another one on PDYN.
There we go, Drone Central. PDYN is a little bit more legit. Now, I don't know a ton about it.
Yeah, look, this one trades at a higher valuation than the others, but that's because it's an AI company.
And it has a deal with RCAT that was announced the morning after SRR. So a lot of people
as well. So where are we now? PDYN. So we're at $5. Yeah. So right now we're trading around 10 to 12 times EV to sales, which puts it on the higher end. Again, relative to RCAT, which is trading around 9 at the moment. But I wouldn't be surprised to see that sort of premium stay, just because we're talking about a much higher margin when you're.
They make the software for the drone.
Yeah, it's a SaaS company.
That's great.
So you're going to have the sex appeal of AI and ML for autonomous. So look, it's going to trade with the group. It's got a low float, relatively clean capital structure. I think it's as good a proxy as some of the others, but be careful with the fact that it is trading at a premium to the group, and all of these names are going to see a lot of volatility.
And by the way, the whole group has been down for the last few days, except for MOB, and that's because of the valuation, because it really hasn't ran yet. It's still like at its base here. If you look at it historically, see that still hasn't broken out of its base pattern, which all the other ones did. So that's why you see this divergence in performance right now, while you're getting the big corrections in pretty much every single one of these drone stocks. And MOB was the only drone stock that was up yesterday, for example.
I think the whole group needs to consolidate here. Valuation levels are sort of at a level where we need another catalyst. And I think that's going to come.
Maybe we'll get it tonight with AVAV.
Yeah, it's possible. But there are going to be follow-on contracts for this group. They're going to come to the likes of RCAT, and There's going to be financing. We heard this from Jeff Thompson, non-dilutive financing available for a lot of these companies because just like the CHIPS Act helped bring the semiconductor supply chain to the U.S., they need to fund some of these smaller companies, fund their growth. So you're going to see grants, low interest loans, etc., and build outs and announcements of new capacity and all the like. So I think there's going to be a lot of catalytic activity in 2025.
I'm looking forward to
and
that.
To your point, Story, Ben, you kind of got to put a little bit more weight on the sentiment and a little bit less on the valuations when you look at these things, when you're trading them, at least. But if you're trying to build a core position and trade around those, then pay a little bit more attention. And you absolutely have to own RCAT as a core position, in my opinion. And
that is my core
around Sizzle and some of the others.
Rhett, can we squeeze one more in?
Yeah, let's go for it. ACMR.
I don't know that company. Do you know it, Godfather?
No,
ACMR?
I don't know either. Sorry.
All right. Anything else?
And then the PSQH. I mean, we've been all over.
Oh yeah, look. I don't know if we have time to talk about that, but there's a huge difference. Trump Jr. joining UMAC can have a fundamental benefit down the line. Trump Jr. joining PSQH to me is nothing. It's meaningless. He was already associated with PSQH and is not going to win any government contracts. Like maybe you can say what their product will be integrated with Truth Social or something. I don't know, but it's a whole different ballgame. I missed this big move up yesterday, but I guess we avoided the after they did the offering under $4, avoided that too. But it's just a whole different level of impact and meaning, I think. Godfather, you agree with that?
Yeah, I was shocked by the size of the move. You have to have fundamental support at some juncture here to sustain these things. So this was a Donald Trump Jr. play. You're getting that in BuzzFeed right now, BZFD, I think, hitting a new high of the day here at 517. Again, this is going to have exactly the same kind of move. So, careful on the rug on this. I don't see the valuation support on PSQH whatsoever at these levels. Like I said, I am seeing it on UMAC, which has that Donald Trump Jr. halo to it as well. So I would, of those three, I would be adding to UMAC on weakness here.
Yep. Ooh, pull back in NBI.
Yeah, I'm about to pull the trigger on that.
Yeah, maybe I should get back. I sold a little bit at the top, but not
I
enough.
sold some this morning as well because I was hoping for a pullback like this. So I'm happy to see that actually.
All right, cool.
Well, before you guys hop, is there a level that you would prefer to buy this at?
NBIS?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, if we can get it under 30, that would be great. But I suspect 30, which was a previous resistance, is now flipped to support. So I would start picking away right around here.
All right. Appreciate you guys. Godfather, Rhett, Ben, we will see you next Wednesday. And I know you guys put the link in the chat. So if you guys want to check out more of their action, you're welcome to in their Discord as well. See you guys next week.
Thank you. Take care.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
All right, chat. We are going to go ahead and talk some futures now. Let me go ahead and change some things up here. We click this button, and then we go ahead and click this button, but that's the wrong show. Then we go ahead and click this button. And why don't we just move that to the bottom? Yeah, that works. Awesome. What's up, y'all? We are going to go ahead and talk some futures. It'll be myself and my man Kevin that'll be coming on here, but I want to quickly talk about what exactly is it that this show is about, right? So I personally use a prop firm that is called Apex Trader Funding. It's an eval platform where you go ahead and you get a chance to purchase an eval. I personally use the $50,000 one, which costs about, I think, $38. And, you get it. If you go ahead and get $3,000 in profits, let me go ahead and kind of mark it right. There we go. This is the one that I personally use. So if you go ahead and get $3,000 in profits, you get elevated to what's called a funded account. Then you have a trailing threshold of about $2,500. So you pay about, say, $40. If you get $3,000 in the eval phase in profits, you go to a funded one where you pay about $100. And then you get to trade with capital with a threshold of losses of $2,500. So the way that I look at it, whether you want to or not, is the fact that you can get a funded account if you pass the first phase of $2,500 for about $140. And of course, I've got my man Kevin that's done this in the past as well. Let me go and bring him on. Kevin, what's up, man? Good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Zunaid. How's it going?
It's going well. Tell me a little bit about your experience with the prop firm world, especially in terms of Apex, and we'll dive into some charts and talk some futures here.
Yeah, I mean, Apex has always been a phenomenal prop firm. You know, obviously in the space of trading, prop firms have really made a big impact over the past couple of years. But I do feel like Apex sort of had their foot in the door before everybody else, which sort of gives them that, you know, that lead, in my opinion. But yeah, you know, they're great. A lot of people get upset over the trail stop. I personally approve of the trail stop, and I do like it because I feel like it holds more traders to a higher level of accountability, right? So it's sort of like, okay, if I have a trail stop of 2,500, I'm up $700 on this trade. Instead of moving my stop loss to break even, maybe I could try to trim some contracts. Let's lock in 350 here, and then I'll let it go to either break even or my take profit, because that way it's teaching you how to scale in, how to scale out, how to take profits off the table, and how to really minimize your risk.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. All right, let's go ahead and dive into the charts. Tell me what you want to take a look at, and then I'll go ahead and pick off from there, pal.
Yeah, it's up to you. I do have some slides on Apex Trader, just sort of like tips for each account size and stuff, or if you want to go over the futures themselves, entirely up to you.
Yeah, let's go ahead. I mean, what you got on this? Let's talk levels here, and then we can go to the slides for sure. Appreciate that.
Sure. So the first thing I wanted to mention was ES and NQ are very difficult to trade at the levels we're at right now. And the main reason for that is because we're at all-time highs, right? So whenever we're at all-time highs, very difficult price action. We don't really have much resistance above us, and the support we're forming is fairly new. So a lot of better trades might be to look for recent lows to be taken out and reject, right? So this would have been a pivot from pre-market that we could have looked for today when market opened. You know, let's say we'll look at the 5-minute. And once we get that rejection, we would be able to maybe look for a long at VWAP and target maybe a new high of day. So that's really important when we are at all-time highs and don't have any historic levels to go off of, so that we understand where there are major pivots that we can use as well.
And I see your stop loss. Oh, wait, so that's a, what is that, a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1 trade?
Yeah, this is about a 2-to-1.
Okay.
And obviously, you know, the stop loss can vary. You could always move your stop loss up as the trade goes in your favor as well. But sizing, you would want to probably size in at wherever your original stop loss is.
Gotcha. All right. And that was on the ES. Is that right? Or
Yep.
Yeah, that was on the ES side of things. You have a similar setup on the NQ as well? Or would it be a little bit different? Because, you know, I was trading the futures the past couple of days, and I noticed that they were kind of not in the same patterns, not the same type of volume and different things like that. So it's a little bit different for me. What are you seeing in the NQ?
Yeah, so something I see right here on the NASDAQ right away compared to the ES is that when the ES did take this low out, the NASDAQ did not take the NASDAQ's low out from that same pivot point. So this pivot point, even from all the way over here, we see on the NASDAQ all the way over here, NASDAQ wasn't taking that out at all. So that would be divergence. And whenever we see divergence between ES and NQ, there's usually a shift in market structures, usually a pop or a reversal. So this would have lined up as a pretty nice trade because of that. We have a liquidity sweep, which would be confirmation 1. We have the divergence, which would be confirmation 2. And then we would be able to take perhaps the NASDAQ long because of the divergence. But either way, you know, when we're at these levels, it's very difficult, like I said, to find strong zones, find strong levels. It's more important to find major pivots. We want to look at maybe the 15-minute time frame and higher. We want to be aware of pre-market levels as well. And just like that, we're able to be patient and wait for a reaction.
All right. Appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and check out the slides, by the way. Big B's, hopefully I pronounced that correct. Appreciates you explaining and breaking it down for me. Let's see what slides you got up.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I have, this was something I did a while ago. So tips for each account size, right? So 25K account, the goal is 1,500, trail stops 1,500, but risking 2% on a 25K account is usually okay if you don't have a trail stop. But because we have a trail stop, risking 2% of the 1,500 only being $30, that might be a little too low. That might take a little too long to, you know, eventually hit our target. So what we can do is we could have a risk of $150, which would mean we would need 10 wrong trades in a row to be off, right? To completely blow this account. Where if you have a 2-to-1 risk to reward, it would only take 5 correct trades. So you see how we're now swaying our risk to reward. We're able to say 10 wrong we're 5 right. Obviously, we're not going to hit a win streak 5 in a row. We can. It's definitely possible. However, it's just the mathematical portion of knowing, okay, my winners are going to take over my losers, and my losers are very small. Same with the 50K account. We don't want to be risking 2% of a 50K, but we also don't want to be risking 2% of 2,500. So a good risk for that would be about 250. Now, the reason I have the 250K account is because of the difference between the goal and the trail stop. Now, the goal is $15,000, where the trail stop is just 6,500. So right away, it's sort of more against you. You're almost better off copying different accounts on the 50K. So obviously 2% of 250,000, you'd be risking 5,000 per trade. Well, that's entirely wrong if the trail stop is 6,000. So we'd maybe, well, we're definitely not risking 130 on a 250K account either. So again, real risk, whenever I'm looking for a prop firm and I want to have a real risk on it, I'm usually looking for like a 10% risk, right? Now, I know 10% risk is way too much if it's a real funded full account, but on these prop firms, because it gives us the ability to risk very low capital, we are able to do that a little bit heavier in size.
I love this, man. This is sick. By the way, I've got a question for you here from the chat.
Yeah.
Worldwide asking, can you explain about why Lock 30X always profitable?
Lock 30X.
I was a little confused as well. Okay, looks like she's asking, or based on the thumbnail, asking someone in the chat. So I will take that back. Big Base, hopefully you can go ahead and answer that. But tell me what you got next on the slide.
Yeah, so some discipline tricks, right? Just a little bit of a rundown. Don't overtrade. Give yourself set rules. Having rules in the market will always keep you in line and keep you from blowing your account. Don't overtrade. Have it where it's maybe if you hit 5 risk, where like if you make 5 R that day, you lock in those gains and you call it a day. And if you lose 2 R in a day, you call it a day, right? So we're able to sort of calculate and know how much my worst day is going to be before I even have my worst day. I know how much my best day is going to be before I even have my best day. Once we're able to know everything beforehand, all the stress starts to decay. So don't trade with heavy size. Trade the trail stop, not the capital. I got a few more tips and tricks in here. Okay, so here we go. This is a good one too. You don't need to pass in 1 day, 4 days, 7 days, 30 days. Trade at your pace. It's not a race. There's no competition. You're at a different point in your trading than the last guy was. You're at a different point in your trading than the next guy was. You might be a little upset because you're not where person A is, but person B might be upset because they're not where you are. So it's all about perspective in the sense of trading. So trade the eval like you would trade your funded account. I know some people, Zunaid, might go a little heavy on the evals.
You're not wrong though. You're not wrong, because it does set, bad
habits.
Bad habits. Thank you. Yeah, to the point where you're like, all right, well, I got away with this one. Let me just do it for this one time on the account size. You know what I mean, on the funded account. So fair enough. You got me there.
Exactly. And when you're funded, you can always create more cushion. So if you're on a 50K account and you bring that account above 52,600, your trail stop is locked in at 50,100. So if you bring your account to 60,100, instead of having a trail stop of 2,500, now you have a trail stop of 10,000, which gives you more cushion. You could then increase your risk to maybe 500. So it's all about, again, it's all mathematical. It's all about if this, then this, and really having good risk to reward. Oh, I even put that down here. Use multiple accounts. Using multiple accounts will allow you to size differently on some. Use some as copy accounts. Even have extra accounts in case you lose one, right? So let's say you do evals, you're trading 10 copy accounts on an eval and you pass all 10. Well, then maybe when you get funded, if you know that you don't have the best track record with your funded accounts, copy trade 2 or 3 of them at a time, right? That way, if you do blow those, you still have some behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
You can also save accounts for when there's a shift in market structure. Say you were in a 2-3 week win streak, then notice a shift in the market. You can either size down or trade another account. That again is huge. If we're trading our own capital instead of a prop firm, we usually don't have multiple accounts to trade with. Whereas when we're trading something like Apex Trader that gives us the ability to have up to 20 accounts, then we're really able to say, okay, I use account 1 through 7 for my A+ setups. I use accounts 8 through 11 for my B setups, and then I'll save the other accounts for when I hit a losing streak.
All right. Appreciate the insights. I love the breakdown in terms of the percentage. I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with, where it's like, hey, my trailing drawdown is only this, so how much should I risk? But 2% of this, it just takes way too long, especially when you're in the eval phase. Any more insights before we get back to the charts?
Yeah, no, I think that's about it. It was
Take
just
a
a little,
screenshot of this, folks. By the way, this is awesome information, man. I appreciate you working on this and presenting it to our viewers here. This is awesome for folks to look at, especially when you're trading with Apex. If you want to try the strategy out, again, grab yourself an eval from Apex. Promo code Fever helps out the show, and that'd be great. But any other additional thoughts for me before we dive into the charts?
I think that's about it on the slide portion of things.
Awesome, dude. That was very helpful. I appreciate it. I took a screenshot myself, so thank you for that. Now, the trade, the setup that you have right there, right, with the stop loss and everything, is that a trade that you had taken or a trade you're looking to take if it gets back to those levels?
No, this was just an example I was going over for this morning for us right now.
Okay, gotcha.
But,
Anything you're eyeing in terms of future support that might be coming into? Because I've got here, let me go and share mine real quick. Here's what I'm eyeing. So this is the 30-minute on the NQ. And I'm kind of curious if I'm going to take a shot at around this level right here. So we had resistance. We popped up. We broke it. Tried to get above, but we never truly retested it on the 30-minute as far as I'm concerned. So I would love for this to come back and, maybe try your strategy in terms of risking, this is a $50,000 account. So maybe I'd risk about 250 and try to get a profit of $500. But what are your thoughts? Any future trades you're seeing on the NQ?
So I don't really see too much on the NQ. I would really like to see the NASDAQ actually come down to 21,340. So this was like a 45-minute supply zone that I had. So whenever I use my supply and demand, if we flip a zone, if we break it this day, I'll use it sort of as a retest level. So you see how we broke it up here overnight. We came back, we retested it, and we pushed higher. So what I was hoping for today, when market opened around 9:30 right here, was that we would push back into it and maybe create some divergence. Now, because obviously the market has given us a bit more of an idea, we see that we actually have now a new level of liquidity on the ES down here. And that level of liquidity is right above a demand zone. So that's something I would really keep an eye on to go along on ES around the 60-71 zone.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and set that up just for like a visual purposes. If you could put your the stop loss and target, that would be great, just so folks have an idea of where they can get into. And of course, folks, this is not financial advice. This is what Kevin would do in terms of if he were to take the trade possibly. And of course, a lot of variables can change between today and when the price action actually gets there and what may be happening.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself. So the first thing I would do, of course, is zoom out to make sure I am trading the trend. And zooming out, we see that we're making higher highs, we're making higher lows. So I'd say, okay, we're definitely trading with the trend. Then I would zoom in a little bit and I would see this was a 30-minute demand zone because we have our basing area, we have our strong move higher. Okay, so now I'm seeing a few things sort of start to co-align. Now I also see we took out this low and reversed. So that gives me the idea that we might take out this low and reverse. So again, sort of adding confirmations to my analysis. Now I also have the demand zone right under that zone to reverse. So it's a lot of things really going in my favor for this trade.
All right.
But like you said, it will definitely depend on how market structure is at that point. If we end up getting a super strong candle to the downside, we might run through it like it's no problem.
Let me actually go ahead and here's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to go ahead and share my charts here real quick. That level that I talked about, the yellow line is also where VWAP is. So here's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm going to try to place a trade right here where we go ahead and buy, and my stop loss, let's say we want to risk about $250. That's what we talked about. So there you go, right there. And then we'll have our profit target be about 500. I'll be honest, for me, it's always so scary, and I'll go ahead and remove this from the 15 so you can see a little bit cleaner. So again, this is a trade setup. We haven't taken it yet. We need the price to get to 21,433. For me, whenever I see my stop loss be so close and my profit target be so far away, heck, it could even be a one-to-one trade. I don't know about you, but for me, it always feels like the stop loss is so much closer than it actually is. Like it just feels like the profit target, even if it's a one-to-one trade, is way out.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, sometimes psychologically that might be a sizing issue. If you feel like maybe, you know, the market's moving too fast to your stop loss, you know, obviously when we enter a trade, we're usually entering because we're pulling back, right? So sometimes we might enter a little premature, and when we enter premature, it might just go right to our stop loss, and that really gets to a lot of traders. Just give me 1 second.
You're totally good. Don't worry about it. I will go ahead and remove you. Just give me a thumbs up whenever you're back. But let's see what we've got here. But yeah, that's the trade setup that I have. Let's see here. We'll see if it does. Yeah, it's kind of scary because it's like, all right, cool. But like, especially on the NQ, you can get wicked. You know what I mean? It can just go wick it real quick. When you see the wicks here as well, so many times it comes, it does that. We'll see if it ends up working out. The reason I like it again is because you have the yellow line, which is the VWAP. So I do like the fact that the VWAP is right there. Matter of fact, Kevin, if I'm watching the screen, I won't be able to see you, but you're welcome to shoot me a text whenever you're good. Okay, you are good. Cool. I thought I had 4 eyes. I don't. I only have 2. But
no, thank you. I'm sorry about that.
Do you trade off the? No, you're good, bro. Do you trade off the VWAP often, or is there another EMA or that you like to play with?
Just the VWAP. I like to be aware of it. I won't use it as like a point of entry, but we can use it as a point to see if price is consolidating and reversing to the other side, or even to use it as a target, right? VWAP is very heavily used even by some institutional traders. So it is important to be aware of that.
Got it. All right. Let's see.
Something I would note on this trade setup we were looking at before is because we reversed on the 5-minute after wicking it, I would look for a 5-minute reversal again after we break it lower.
Okay. Now, are you ever afraid? Obviously, your stop loss is right at the bottom of that green zone. Are you ever afraid of just getting wicked and then it just bounces? Like, do you give yourself like a couple of points, or is it just like, hey, you know what? That's life. We move on to the next trade.
So I'll keep my stop loss tight, and what'll happen is if it does hit my stop, now I have to make sure my stop loss is wherever my stop loss is. That's where I'm wrong on my analysis, and that's where all of our stop losses should be. So if I have to give it a little room below the zone, that's okay. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll wait for the reaction in the zone first, and then maybe I'll take it after we get back above this level, and I'll put my stop loss somewhere in the zone. Because then what I'm able to do is if it does want to push me down, stop me out one more time, I could then be more patient and maybe look for a re-entry. And that's sort of the benefit of having a good risk to reward on your trades, is that you could sort of stop out and re-enter and make that money back on that next trade.
And then you've obviously, for me, the biggest thing is just getting wicked. That scares me. As a lot of traders deal with it where you get wicked and then it just goes in the direction that you're hoping. They're like, oh man, if only my stop loss was this, if only my stop loss was that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
All right. Any other markets in terms of oil that you want to take a look at?
Yeah, we could check. You want to go over oil? You want to go over gold?
Let's check out oil, then we'll move over to gold.
Sounds good. So this was a trade I took this morning on crude. So my first entry was right over here when we started getting in demand, and I saw we started to wick up. So my first entry was about 69.73. Then I saw we pushed one more time into this zone, and I actually added on the trade, because when you add to the trade at a lower point, obviously it averages you down. So I was able to add to the trade 2 contracts. I started with my 1 contract. I added with my 2 contracts, because then at that point, I was able to tighten up my stop loss, right? I'm able to say, okay, well, now I know if I'm wrong on my analysis, we're just going to run through this demand zone. I don't want to be holding it till the bottom of it. I'd rather get out a little bit before. We got a really weird pop at the 1030 candle on crude, which is where I got out of my contracts, because I'd usually like to hold it if we're just getting our regular price action, right? We're going from point A to point B. If we get a random pop like this, we even see on the 5-minute, we could see how it gapped up on the 5-minute, right? So it was a very peculiar price action, and that sort of was a red flag for me. So that's why I got out a bit soon. I really did want to target the top near supply, and the reason for that is because we broke that previous day high already. We broke previous day high, and when crude breaks previous day high, I believe it's like a 65% chance that we close green. So what I did was I had the previous day high, and I marked where the open candle is, which is 70.02, because for us to close green, we would have to close above the open. So that's sort of how I would use that as well, the previous day high, the statistics, and the open.
And looking at that wick, did that trade end up being profitable for you?
Yeah, this was a good one. This was a little 3-1, but like I said, I was able to add to the winner, so it was a nice enough trade.
So you stuck both contracts or both entries for a 3-1. You didn't scale out before that, it seems.
Yeah, I got out first. Take profit was here, and like I said, I did want to target up here, but because of the weird spike we got, I sort of wanted to try to let this 5-minute close. But once it became like a minute and a half left, and I saw we kept failing, I ended up getting out of the last 2 contracts a little bit below, probably like realistically maybe over here.
Gotcha. Got one more question. Do you trade platinum? And if you don't, do you want to try maybe analyzing the chart just a little?
Yeah, platinum. What is that? PL? Yeah,
I believe that's
see.
the case. Yeah.
So I personally don't trade platinum, but it's definitely something I would consider looking into. Would probably start with the higher time frame, look for some daily fair value gaps, look for some daily demand zones as well. That's points of consolidation. So we consolidated here. Mark this out as a demand. Oh, my demand zone only shows up on what's it called? On the lower time frames. So we're gonna mark that out like that. This would be a supply zone if this candle didn't break above it. So now we go to the 4-hour. I'm not the biggest fan of platinum due to the volume, so I'm not sure how it would respect and respond to supply and demand, but it's definitely something I would keep an eye on. We had a supply zone right here on the 3-hour, and it did reject that. So, I mean, yeah, we could keep an eye on that. Something I'll keep an eye on and definitely look into. Let's see. So S3-hour.
So right now it seems like it's in no man's land.
Yeah, exactly. So right now I don't see any trades on platinum right now.
All right. Appreciate it. And now this question, I'll kind of rephrase it. Are there any times that you don't like to trade because of volume, because you're sleeping, whatever the case may be?
Yeah, well, definitely if I'm sleeping, I'm not trading. But if, like you mentioned, when we're in the middle of nowhere between a supply or demand zone, I don't take any trades. I only take my trades when we're near a demand, near a supply, or rejecting or reacting off of a supply or demand zone. We should never be trying to short anticipating one zone or go long anticipating the other zone, because then we're sort of buying in the middle of the nowhere. And just like a lot of trader haters say, that's just gambling. You know, we can't gamble in trading. We have to trade with our edge.
I like the fact that, there's always like I've always seen some people also have like you obviously have your red, your blue to get your zones, but I've also had people right in the middle of it say, do not trade, just as a reminder of like, hey, you're literally, it's a coin flip. You know what I mean? So like, why try to get yourself in a trade where it's a coin flip? I know that's something definitely, like, for example, with my chart right now, a part of me is like, I just want to get into a trade. Look, there was resistance here. We've broke above. Maybe this is testing the support. You know what I mean? Like, hey, maybe this is where I should have gotten in, and then I'll get in and put a stop loss there. It just messes with your head where it's like, hey, look, you have a game plan. Just stick to it. Just be patient. And that's why I think it's important that before people go and quit their jobs to day trade full time, you've got to make sure that you're not needing to trade to pay your bills, or it also will mess with your psyche a bit.
Yep,
you know,
100%. I got you. Bigger bees.
Yeah.
No problem.
Awesome. Appreciate it, man. Are there any other final thoughts from you? Any trade ideas you're thinking of before we go?
Not too much. Obviously, like I mentioned, ES and NQ, I'm probably going to stay away from those for a couple of days until we get some type of pullback or some stronger structure, or we pull back to a demand zone for an entry. I'll probably be watching crude oil and gold for the time being, and I'll keep an eye on platinum as well.
All right. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Again, before you go, though, tell the folks where they can find you.
Yeah, you guys could get in contact with me at tradingpioneers.net. That's my coaching site. And you could also join us live at thebullishbears.com. That is our community. And YouTube, you guys can check it out, Bullish Bears Trading. And Twitch is Kevin Futures.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Kevin, as always, man. I know you and I have been talking about how we can continue working together. I will give you a ring and connect you with somebody. But as always, appreciate your time, Kevin.
Absolutely, man. Have a good day. Take care, everybody.
All right, chat. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed the slides. Again, if you didn't take a screenshot, reach out to my man Kevin on Twitter. He'll definitely go ahead and take care of you. Great guy. A lot of great insights from his experience, not just in the prop trading world, but also as he trades his own funds as well. And appreciate you guys. If you guys have any suggestions on what other type of shows you'd like, you can reach out to my man Aaron Thomas. I believe his email address is aaronthomas@benzinga.com. So you can reach out to him. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Happy trading. Ryan will be back tomorrow, but in exactly 2 minutes. Oh, see, AT, you almost had me mess up, AT. Now I'm going to go ahead and keep talking for about 2 minutes here so that we can redirect you to Paul Meeks. All right, just go ahead and share some charts here. See, AT would have yelled at me, and I would have just blamed him. It's like, bro, you're supposed to remind me. I got the memory of a goldfish. By the way, AT, I almost put you up instead of my charts. I just want you to know that. Would I have done it on purpose? Probably. All right, let's go ahead and share some charts here. Let's go to talk some Coinbase, because this is a stock that I had a friend add around 300 the other day, and I was scared because, you know, it's never fun when you're telling someone else to get into a trade. But thankfully, so far, it's working out for her. Let's see where the levels were. We had her get in around 300. The stop loss was if it broke about 285. So at the moment, we're still hitting that resistance point of about 322. Hopefully, we can crack that, and then we can go ahead and reach the next target that I have around 343 or so. But so far, that trade is working out. And then let's go to move on to Tesla, as we've got about a minute left to go here. Tesla, you got the resistance at about 355. So if it pops above, I'd be interested in trading this one. I'm going to go ahead and set an alert there. And I will also, got it, try to set an alert here. So if it does break this 348 area, I will go short, and that will do it for us. Again, thank you guys so much. Greatly appreciate hanging out with you guys. Don't go anywhere, because you've got my man Paul Meeks. You've seen him on CNBC. Now you get a chance to watch my Benzinga. Don't click a button. You'll be redirected there, and we'll see you next time.